Now roll your blanket up, because all of you are pros here. You know what you like. Do you want a towel? Do you want it thick? Do you want it thin? Do you want to roll it this way or that way? You know, in class I may be kind of, you know, I'd show you a certain way to roll it, and we kind of go with that. But all of you have done this enough. Roll it any way you want. The technique that I use in class is Iyengar style. So, you know, that was just one teacher. So I want you to try any way that feels comfortable to you. Too big, make your back tight. So make sure it's not too high, it's not too small. And I've told you, even you can lay it this way, right underneath the bra line, the bottom bra line there at the shoulder blades, at the tips of the wings. If you lay with that horizontal right like that, it's another way to do passive shoulder openers. We are going to do butterfly pose in it, so maybe you want yoga blocks or your pillows. So get those ready and put them on each side of your yoga mat so they're easy to get access to them. I don't want you to have to keep getting up and moving around. So we're going to start out with this passive shoulder opener. Some people like to have their legs straight out to start with before we do the butterfly pose. I personally like to have the knees together and the feet wide apart. So play with your bolster. Make sure if it's going vertically, it's at least 1 fist distance away from your tush. If you want, it can be a little further away. Don't have it closer than a fist distance away. So either have it vertically or horizontal, and maybe try it both ways. Once you get yourself adjusted, let the arms rest out. And again, legs could be wide. Knees could be in relaxation pose, or legs could be straight out. We're going to let the arms rest out. And everybody's going to close their eyes. Make extra little wiggles. Make sure that this is where you want it. If your chin is tilted upward, put a folded blanket, maybe a folded towel underneath your head. So nothing balled up, nothing rolled up under your neck, something flat to just align your ears with your shoulders. Let the arms rest out with the palms of your hands turned upward. Your eyes are closed, legs are either straight out or knees together and feet wide apart. Don't go anywhere. Take a couple of breaths. Let's do 3 breaths. In through the nose and blow them out through the mouth. Let's try it again. And one last time. Now let's take those 2 sounds that we do at the end of class. Let's start our class out with them. The sound of ah and So take a deep breath in, let it out with a big ah. Let's get that delicious sound. Take a deep breath in. Let's try that again. Take a breath in. One more delicious sound. Notice there's a vibration left on your lips. With your eyes closed, observing your breath, please take this moment to balance your breath, balance the mind with the body. starting out with the passive shoulder openers with butterfly. So roll a blanket up, put it behind your back, but make sure it's not too low. Girls, if this feels tight, adjust the bolster in any way. Maybe you want to change it, the direction, before we start our butterfly. Now, gently walk your feet towards each other. Rock your knees gently from side to side. And I'm sorry, we forgot to do one more thing before we come into the pose. Take the feet out wide apart. Knees are bent. Press one knee down. You girls know the routine. Bring that knee up. Press the other knee down. Gently go from side to side. Slow. Extra slow. Loosen those hips up. And then ladies, walk the feet towards each other. Gently, making sure you have a pillow or a block to go under each thigh. Let the soles of the feet touch each other. I have started your clock, ladies. Let the knees open out. Now it's our first pose, so really relax into it. Make sure you have extra toys underneath you. Either it's a pillow, a yoga block, whatever feels good. Now, allow those hips to open in butterfly. Make sure that your bolster is comfortable, rolled up thick or thin. It doesn't matter either way. And again, if it's uncomfortable, change the position. Hi, Sister Pam. I'm glad you could come into class. So make sure you have something that's comfortable right behind your back, a fist distance away. You're laying out with your knees bent, with a prop under your thighs in butterfly pose. This is our first yin pose this afternoon. Letting the chest open. Remember, don't have something under your back that's hurting you. It should be helping you open your shoulders. So it doesn't have to be high at all. Everybody thinks you have to work it hard. You don't. So while the shoulders are relaxing down, you don't even have to have a bolster under your back. Maybe you just have the feet together and your knees wide apart in reclined butterfly pose. So now let's take the chatter out of our minds. Let's focus on the breathing. Take a deep breath in. Make your tummy as big as you can. And then out through your nose, let the breath glide out of the body, pushing the breath out. Inhale halfway, pause, hold your breath. Inhale all the way up to the top. Hold your breath. Out through your nose, let the breath glide out of the body, pushing the breath out. Inhale, halfway, pause. Inhale all the way up to the top, pause. And out through your nose, let it go, let it glide completely out of the body, push it out. One last time. Inhale, halfway, pause. Inhale up to the top, pause. Out through your nose, let the breath go. Let it glide completely out, push the breath out. And then take a huge breath in, a big one. Hold the breath at the very top. Let half the breath out, pause. Let all the breath out, push it out. Inhale as deeply as you can. Make the belly big. Exhale, half the breath out, pause. Squeeze it all the way out, push it out. And one last time, a big breath, make everything big. Hold it as long as you can. And then divide that breath in two, pausing halfway and then squeezing it out, pushing it all the way out. Then inhale and go. Hopefully that breath technique decreased the chatter in your mind. Hopefully it increased the lung capacity. So if you want it deeper, you could take the props out from under your thighs and go deeper. You do not have to do that. Keep the props under your thighs if that feels more better to you. Let your shoulders relax. Let the chest open. Don't worry, I am keeping track of your time. So this opens your groin muscles, obviously. So that's why you want to be especially gentle. It's a very sensitive area. And this is yin. So remember, less is always more. Props are always encouraged. Coming out of the pose at any time is always encouraged if it's too much. Less is truly more because we're going into the connective tissues. You don't want to tear at them. If you tear at them, they'll heal, but they have to contract. They have to tighten in order to repair. So truly, less is more. Take a deep breath in and let it go. This opens your digestion. And if you still have a bolster behind the back, it opens your chest and can release shoulders. Not always good if you don't want to stay there. You can always take it out. You're on your last few breaths, ladies. I believe it's only us ladies today, unless you guys snuck a guy in. And that's perfectly fine, you know. Now start to wiggle your fingers. Start to wake them up. Bend your elbows. If your hands aren't on your tummy, rub your tummy a little bit. And rub your legs, your thighs. Wake them up. Now slide your hands underneath your thighs, and with the strength of your arms, bring both of your knees back together again. Rock your knees both from side to side. We're twisting at the waist as much or as little as needed. Now roll off your bolster, but meet me on your backs. Get rid of your bolster. Have your back flat on the mat. Have your knees bent. Get your feet wide apart like we started the pose. Point one knee up and press one knee down. But this time we're holding it just for 2 deep breaths. After your second breath, and everybody's going to be in a different position, don't force it. Bring that knee up and press the other knee down. Hold that for 2 deep breaths. Bring both knees up. Walk your feet in together. Let's roll all the way over onto our right side. We're going to do scallops for our twist. Every yin class should have 1 twist in it and 1 arm strengthening. This is going to be our twist tonight. Make sure your neck is comfortable. Maybe you need a blanket under your cheek, not behind your head. Spread your left hand wide. With an inhale, bring your left arm straight up to the ceiling. Look up. Stack your shoulders one on top of the other. Spread your fingers, look upward. Are you breathing? Don't forget to breathe. Take 1 more deep breath there. And on your own exhale, roll your back down. The shoulder blade. Bring your elbow down and then drop your hand to the floor. Now, all of you have been doing this pose with me for quite some time, so I would assume your arm is down. But if your left elbow is not down, remember you can put the hand at the hip. Take a deep breath in with your nose pointing to the ceiling, tuck your chin, and then let it go. Open your mouth out, open your mouth wide, stick your tongue out and go. Close the mouth. Look over your left shoulder if it feels good. Look straight up to the ceiling if it's better. Now spread the left hand wide. Inhale, bring your left arm, your back straight up. Look up. Exhale, bring it down to the palm of your right hand. Inhale, bring the arm straight up. Look up. Roll your back down. The shoulder, your elbow, then the hand. Look straight to the ceiling or look over your left shoulder. Take 3 deep breaths. Make your tummy big. On the exhale, pull the belly in and upward. 2 more times. Make your belly big, big, big. Exhaling, pull the tummy in and upward. Then 1 more full deep breath. Make the tummy as big as you can. And then when you exhale, pull that tummy in and draw it up towards the heart. And then let it go. With the chest open, everybody take a deep breath in. Let it out with a big sigh. Spread the left hand wide. Bring the left arm, the back straight up. Look up. Exhale, bring it down to the palm of your right hand. Inhale, bring the left arm straight up. Look up. Roll the back down. Your shoulder blade, your elbow, the hand. Look up to the ceiling or over your left shoulder. Now let's go into your left hip. So swing that left leg out to the right. You keep the knees in alignment to each other. Flex your left foot, pull back on your left pinky toe side. Notice how that adjusts your foot. Now keep the leg straight. With an inhale, bring the leg up 2 inches. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, bring it up 2 inches. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, bring it up 2 inches. Hold it there. Keep breathing. Turn the heel of your left foot towards the floor, pointing the left toes up to the ceiling. Breathe there. It's not easy. Now relax your foot. Bend your left knee again. Bring it home to your bottom leg. Don't go anywhere. Let's take that breath. Let it out with a sigh. Spread your left hand wide. Inhale, bring your arm, your back straight up. Exhale, bring it down to the palm of your right hand. Ladies, let's roll onto our backs. Stretch your body out, hollow body. Stretch from your fingertips to your toenails. Now I love that twist with the yin because it prepares our hips too. Now we're going to hug both knees into the chest, round the back, tuck the chin, nose to bent knees, and then release it. Roll all the way over onto your left side. Have your arms parallel to your thighs. Make sure your neck is comfortable. We're going to spread the right hand wide, and with an inhale, bring that arm straight up. Look up. Roll the back down. The shoulder, your elbow, then the hand. Look straight up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath and exhale, pull the chin down, hold it, and then release it. Open your mouth really wide, stick your tongue out and go. Close your mouth. Look straight up to the ceiling or look over your right shoulder. Now we're going to spread your right hand wide. Inhale, bring your arm and back straight up. Since I didn't make us hold it here, let's hold it here. Reach up to the ceiling, look up. You don't have to look up if it doesn't feel good. You can look over to the left if it's better. One more breath, really reaching up to the ceiling with your fingertips though. And on your own exhale, bring it down to meet the palm of your left hand. Inhale, bring that right arm straight up, look up. Roll your back down, your shoulder, your elbow, then the hand. Let's get the cleansing breaths. Look to where it feels good for your neck. And 3 deep breaths. Make your belly as big as you can. And on the exhale, pull the belly in and upward. Please do this a total of 3 times. After the 3rd breath, let your breath just be. Now we're going to keep the arms opened out, chest open. Let's do that cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in. Let it out with a big sigh. Spread your right hand wide. Inhale, bring your arm, your back straight up. Look up. Exhale, bring it down to the palm of your left hand. Last time, bring the arm straight up, look up, roll your back down, your shoulder, your elbow, then the hand. Look where it's appropriate to you. Now, let's kick that right leg out to the left side. Flex your foot. Pull back on that right pinky toe side to adjust your foot. With an inhale, only lift that leg up 2 inches. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, bring it up 2 inches. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, bring it up 2 inches. Hold it there. Keep breathing. Turn the heel of your foot down, pointing the toes upward. Breathe into that right hip. Now relax your foot. Bend your knee. Bring it home to the bottom leg. Let's take a deep breath in. Now, spread your right hand wide. Inhale, bring your arm, your back straight up. Exhale, bring it down to the palm of your left hand. Let's meet each other on our hands and knees. Get there any way you can. Once you're on your hands and knees, and if you cannot be on your hands and knees, you know what to do. You can stand up, use your coffee table, or use a chair. Use the seat of the chair for your floor. Spread your fingers, elbows are straight. Let's work cat-cow. Start with cat, move it into cow. Remember, you're not going to look up any higher than your neck is happy and comfortable doing today. Remember, every day is different, so we honor it. Just a couple times, flow with it, move with it. Keep your butt muscles relaxed. Make sure your neck is safe. Next time you have cat rounding, hold cat, pull your tummy in, shake your head a bit. Press the hips back low. Even if you're standing up, you're stepping back, your arms are out long, your head hangs, maybe it touches the floor. Take one more breath, and then gently lift all the way back up. Let's come down onto our tummies. We're going to do Sphinx pose now. So stack your hands one on top of the other. Let's start with our foreheads rested on the hands. Let's go for the neutral place. Toes are turned inward. Your heels are rested out. Move your hips a little bit from side to side. Make sure they're loose. Let your shoulders relax. Breathe. Let the hips open. This is the place we come to if it's too much. But if it feels good, we're all going to come up onto our elbows. And if this is good, we can stay here. If you can release your butt muscles, the gluteus maximus, let them relax. Heels flop out. Maybe take the legs out wider. But if you're feeling jamming in your back, for goodness sakes, you come back to where we were. And you're still getting a back bend. It works just great. Maybe on your elbows is too high, but down on the floor is a little too low. So you would roll up get that bolster we had at our back. We'd stick it maybe underneath the breast there, and maybe put your head on your hands, and it just lifts you up a tiny bit. So it's in a little bit more gentle back bend without coming into it deeply. You always, in every single one of your yin poses, make sure your neck and shoulders are comfortable. So if being up on your elbows and your neck is not happy, get your yoga block, get your pillow, whatever it is, put it between your hands and let your forehead rest on it. Maybe low, maybe high. Let the heels flop out. And again, maybe it's a pillow. All of you come up with so many wonderful, creative ways of using the props to support your body. There is no right or wrong. Make it yours. The wrong way is gripping your butt muscles, not relaxing in your breath, feeling the rise and fall, letting your belly relax, making sure your neck is comfortable. You can always turn your head to one side and stretch your neck a little bit, maybe yeses and nos. Please, honestly, make sure it's comfortable. Make sure you're not gripping your hips at all. You're letting the heels of your feet press out. And for a moment, really press them outward and then relax them. Stay with your breath. Feel the rise and fall. Focus on the breathing. In every yin posture, it's important to let go, to not hold any muscle energy. Right now, we're creating that lumbar curve where it should be. Most of us lose it just because of what we do during the day. Jobs, maybe how we drive or sit. So we're putting that curve exactly where it needs to be. And if this is not comfortable, again, you come flat down, stack the hands, put your forehead on your hands, and it's still a back bend. This is one of those essential poses that we all need. We used to play games like this. We used to talk on the phone. Maybe we read books on the beach like this. This is a natural thing for us to do, like squatting is supposed to be natural. Remember, be gentle with your neck. Make sure it's feeling okay. Maybe you want to look to each side gently. Make sure you're not stagnant with your neck and shoulders. Stay with your soft breathing, letting it relax. Let everything release. No tension in your neck, no tension in your shoulders. We're finishing the pose out, folks, so we're going to end it with a little neck stretch. So stay where you're at. If you're flat on the floor with your head on your hands, you simply turn your head to the one cheek. With an inhale, your nose is to the center, and exhale, look over one shoulder. Maybe your nose is high, maybe it's pointing to the floor, but you're breathing. One more breath. Inhale, bring your nose to center. Exhale, look over the opposite shoulder. Hold it, keep breathing. And then with an inhale, bring your nose back to center. We're going to come all the way down. Get rid of any props you have. Put one cheek on your yoga mat, arms by your side, palms up. You're going to bend your knees and you're crisscrossing your ankles back and forth, releasing your lower back a little bit. Now keep the feet up. Turn the head to the opposite cheek and drop your feet from side to side. Windshield wipers. And then we're going to drop our feet down to the floor. We're going to place our hands underneath our shoulders. Hips to heels, child's pose. But if that's not good for you, lay on your back. Hug your knees to your chest. Remember, child's pose can be modified on your back. Hug your knees to your chest. Since we're holding these poses for 5 minutes, we're going to hold this for several deep breaths. Remember, you can have pillows underneath your head, under your chest. You could have a pillow or a rolled up blanket behind your thighs and your calves. That feels good too. Knees apart or together. Now we're decompressing your lower back. So as much as your lumbar spine wants and needs the compression, it also needs to be decompressed. I always recommend this pose for everybody in bed, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. It does something miraculous to your back. Please never go to sleep in this pose, ever, ever, ever when you first start it. There are some people, after they've done it for a number of years, they actually like to go to sleep in it. But if you're new to it, you will not be happy. Take just another breath or two, kids. Let the hips release. If you're on your back, hugging knees to chest, please bring your nose to your bent knees for 3 deep breaths. And then we're going to gently lift ourselves up. We're going to come up onto the hands and knees, and we're going to stretch each leg out because we're going to come into pigeon pose, swan pose. So roll the toes under. Take your right leg out. Stretch strongly through the heel of your foot, and then pick your right leg up. Take it to the left side. Press strongly through the heel of your foot. If it feels great, look over your left shoulder, get that nice stretch there. Then we're going to take that leg back behind you, wiggle your ankle. Please bend your right knee. Please point your right knee out to the side and get circles in your hip. Go one way, go the other way. This will help loosen the hip up for your swan pose. Bring the knee down to the floor. Let's do the other side. Left leg out, roll the toes under, press strongly through the heel of that foot. Take another breath there, kids. And then let's take that left leg up to the right side, put your toes on the floor, press strongly through the heel of your left foot, and please look over your right shoulder at your left heel. Breathe into that hip. Take the leg out behind you, wiggle your ankle, bend your knee, point the knee out to the side, get circles in the hip. Go one way, go the other way. Bring your knee home, relax your toes, move your hips around in circles. Now, not everybody wants to do a down dog. Some people do. We're going to roll our toes under. If you do not want to do down dog, please do leg extensions again. If you want to do down dog, this is how we're coming into it. Push your hips back low to the heels. See your hands way out long, very few wrinkles on your wrists. The soft spot of your elbows is rotated upward. Your arms are straight. You look at your knees. Your chin is tucked in. You lift your knees up off the mat. Your tummy and thighs stay together until the end, and then you walk your dog if you feel like it. Some people don't want to walk the dog. Other people do. If you are walking your dog, you're going to take both heels to the floor, lift your hips high away from your wrists. If you're on your knees, you're going to come into swan pose with your right knee. If you're coming into it from down dog, you know how to do it. Bring that right knee forward. We're going to drop down onto our right hip. We're going to push our right knee out to the right side and have your foot pointing out to the left. You bring your left hip over to your right heel. Now, if this is not feeling good on your knee, pull your foot down a little bit, then bring it back into it. Roll your left toes under, lift the knee off the floor, and press back into it. Now, you may have to stick a blanket or a block or a pillow underneath the right hip. Make sure your right knee is way out to the right side, not under your body. Come down onto your elbows and start to cry. Say a prayer, shed a tear. Let me show you the modified version. I did set your clock, don't worry. The modified version is knees bent, you're on your back, you have your right ankle on your left thigh. Whether you use a prop or not, we're going to drop both knees down to the left side. If you need that prop, you get that pillow underneath the left leg and your right foot is resting on the prop or it's resting on the floor. To deepen that, you just pull the foot to the hip crease. Now, there's some of you here that one side you want to do on your back and the other side you like to do on your tummy. That's fine too. You honor how the body feels. Your knee determines everything. You press that knee away from you. So if you're on your tummy, it is very painful. You're going to make sure there is no pain in the knee structure itself. If the knee is hurting, you need to lay on your back and do the modified version. Allow yourself to melt. Breathe into it. Allow the left hip to melt to your right heel, but allow your right hip to melt either down onto the floor or onto a prop. Don't have that right hip just hanging out in midair. Put something underneath of it. Again, this is not a comfortable pose by any standard. It never gets comfortable. It just gets deeper. This is what changes how your hips perform. It's what opens your sacrum. It does so many marvelous things for you if you just be patient. Be patient with yourself in the process. So if you can, you melt yourself to the floor. If you can't, remember, you get your props. Bring the floor up to you so that you can cry in a more comfortable position. Honestly, when I get people in this pose the first time, they're like, how would anybody ever come back week after week to do this pose? Believe it or not, it gets better. It opens that hip up like nothing else will. If you wanted to, you could walk your elbows to the left side, breathe into it, and just melt. Notice keeping the hips where they were and just moving your elbows a little bit to that left side increases the stretch in that right hip. Maybe it's so intense tonight, you don't notice any more intensity one way or the other. Please make sure your neck and shoulders are comfortable. So if you need to, you can always walk the elbows over to the right side. Please remember, in every single one of these poses, you can come out of the pose, come back into it. Really, truly, less is more. This is a practice that takes years and years and years to really get deeper and deeper and deeper. There's only 20 poses in the Yin series. They don't get boring because you go so much deeper and you explore these areas in a whole different way, year after year, decade after decade. Let yourself melt a little more. Folks, we're almost complete with the pose. Remember, you don't have to stay put. You can keep your hips where they are, and you can lift yourself up a little bit and stretch a little bit and come back down to it and go, wow, this is actually starting to loosen up. Maybe it's just not loosening up and you go, oh, it's never going to loosen up, but it will. Again, this pose you have to be patient with. Allow yourself to relax and let go. And again, if you're on your back, it's the same principles, being patient. Allow that left hip to sink further to the right heel. Allow that right hip to soften and let go. Let the hip flexor go on that right side, your piriformis. Maybe you even feel it in the groin. Maybe the nervous system is talking to you. That's possible. We're in the sacral area. Don't pinch your butt muscles, let them open. Now kids, it's been 5 minutes. That went by fast, didn't it? Lift yourself up. Get rid of your props that are underneath you. Pull your right foot inward. Come back up on your hands and knees. If you are on your back, come out of the pose, hug knees to the chest, and take your knees around in circles. If you're on those knees, let's move those hips. Go one way with your circles before you change the direction and go the other way. Stretch each leg out. Get some movement. And then let's take the dog out for a walk. If you're not going to do down dog, you can come into leg extensions. If you're coming into down dog, take that puppy out for a walk if you want to or not. If you're in down dog, press those heels to the floor, lift your hips up. Maybe you want to do ekapada, where you lift one leg up. That's your choice. If you're on your knees, we're going to bring that left knee forward. We're coming into swan pose on the left side. So simply drop that left hip to the floor, point the left knee out to the left side, bring your left foot up. You don't want it any higher than where it's parallel to the front of your mat. It could go down further, but listen to your knee. Bring your right hip towards the left heel. You're going to roll your right toes under and press the left hip down. Relax your right toes. If your hip is up, please, if there's space between the floor and your hip, get a prop underneath of it. A pillow, a yoga block. Yoga block's a little harsh. May come down onto your elbows and relax into it. Your time has been set. Now, to feel the most benefits out of it, you have to have the knee out wider to the hip, not under your body, out to the side. The foot comes up higher if you want more. It's your lever for pain. Higher is painful, lower is less pain. If this is unacceptable and you need to be in the modified way, you're having the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, you're on your back, with the left ankle on your right thigh, and you drop the whole kit and caboodle over to the right side. You point the left knee up and you feel that in your hip. You can use your hand to pull the foot. What feels best to you? But we're all in it together. Breathing into that left hip. Allowing your gluteus maximus to relaximus. You can put pillows underneath your chest and let your head rest. You can have your elbows out, your arms out, long in front of you, or your elbows bent. What feels good? Notice how completely different this side feels. The knee feels different. The hip feels different. For goodness sakes, the foot even feels different. Let the back relax, let the hips release. We're not holding muscle energy, but we are really feeling this. We're breathing and allowing ourselves to melt and let go. Right hip is resting towards left heel. Left hip is resting either towards the floor or on your prop. Let the lower back, your sacrum area, just open and release, unfold. Just a few breaths, letting it all go. Remember, you can move your elbows to one side and relax into it there. It enhances the pose in different ways. Going to each side, observe it. Feel free to move your upper body. Feel free to come out of the pose if you need to. You have to listen to your body. Be patient with it. The left side is so different from your right side. For thousands of years, they've called your left side the moon side. Your right side's the sun side, because they're day and night different. They'll always be day and night different, no matter how deeply you stretch them. You'll always notice differences. Breathe in and let it all soften. Let it go. Let that left hip open. Don't worry, I'm keeping my eye on your time. If you're on your back, it's the same thing. Letting go, releasing. Notice the hip flexor, piriformis. Maybe you feel the groin. Maybe you notice the nervous system. Don't feel like you have to stay stagnant. Breathe and let go. Allow that left hip to release, soften, let it open. No muscle energy, not even in your toes. Breaths, folks. Now, if you're on your tummy, you're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift yourself up. Take any props out from underneath you. Pull the foot in. If you're on your knees, come on the hands and knees. Work the hips in circles. If you're on your back, hug the knees to your chest and take both knees around like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. You can use your hands or not. Go one way, go the other. Some of you are already walking your puppy dog, taking it into down dog ekapada. Some of you are just pressing it back into a child's pose. If you're on your back, please hug knees into the chest and take 3 deep breaths into that. And if you would like, please come into child's pose on your knees. This helps balance your hips, whether you're on your back or you're on your knees. Allows the hips to release. Let it go. Please take 3 more deep breaths. Even if you're on your back, hug the knees into the chest. Take 3 more deep breaths. Now we're going to lift up, and we're going to sit down on our bottoms. Let's get those hamstrings. It's our favorite. Take the legs out, work your ankles around. Flex and point them. And then curl your toes down. Keep the ankles turned out like this and turn all the toes up to the ceiling. And then release your feet, work your ankles around. And then bring the toes up straight up to the ceiling. Press through the heels of your feet. Pull the abundance out from underneath you. And we're going to do windshield wipers before we come into it. Just rock your feet from side to side. American windshield wipers, now European ones. And relax your ankles. Now, we're going to come into hurdler's pose. It's a one-legged forward fold. Two different ways of coming into it. Actually, it's called half dragonfly pose. So you're either going to have your, actually half butterfly pose. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. You're either going to have your foot to the inside of your right thigh. Here's the hard one, is taking the ankle to the outside of the hip. Now, most of you are going to be kind of cockeyed if you want to practice this one. If the ankle likes this position, how you adjust for that is folding your blanket up or getting one of those pillows. Don't be bashful. Get it all the way underneath your hips. We use props to achieve the pose for you today. So if you want to, you can lean to the right, grab your left ankle and see if this is comfortable, because we're here for 3 minutes. So make sure it's okay. If that's not good, let's bring it to the inside of your right thigh. Please, for all different reasons, you may not want to do it the other way. If your knee or hip is hurting, get a pillow underneath that left knee. We're all going to bend our right knee a little bit so we feel the hip crease. Hands on each side of the right leg. Bring your belly to your thigh. Your clock has been set. Allow yourself to melt over that leg. No muscle energy using your arms to pull. Let your head hang. Some of you need to bend that knee a lot. Others need to slightly bend the knee. At any time while we're in this pose, you could look at your right foot, lengthen your collarbones towards the foot. You feel the back become active, and then you allow yourself to melt into it. Some of you are kissing your knee. Some of you are waving at your foot from afar. So maybe you want to get your prop and put that pillow over your right leg and just stretch into your hamstrings there. We're breathing into that right leg, allowing it to stretch and not forcing it. You should be feeling that in the hip going to the connective, going into the muscle itself. We're stretching connective tissue from bone into the muscle. Let everything relax and soften. Let it go. Let your back release. Stay with your breath if you can. Remember, the beauty of all these yin poses is you can come out of them, come back into them. Stay with it. Breathe with it. You will probably feel this in the groin as well. Maybe you just feel hamstrings and nothing else. Keep your shoulders and neck relaxed. At any time, you can lift your chest and your neck up and look over one shoulder, but keeping belly towards the thighs. Make sure your neck is comfortable. Some of you are low enough that you can use a prop and let your head rest on the prop. Some of you are so deep in it that you could slide your fingers into your toes and stretch your toes while you're at it. Some are going, holy cow, is the time up yet? It's amazing how these 3-minute poses can feel actually longer than the 5-minute poses. Stay with your breathing. Allow that leg to stretch and soften. I am watching your clock. Very slowly, very gently, using your hands, walk your way back up. If your foot is back here, you're going to grab your ankle, pull the knee up, drop your foot in front, and then slide the leg out. If it's to the inside, you bring the knee up and take the leg out. Work your ankles. Go one way, go the other way. Flex and point them. Have a party with your feet. Let them go. Let them be free. So kids, let's go to the other side. If you want, lean to the side, grab that right ankle, pull it to the outside of your hip. If not, it goes to the inside of your left thigh. Maybe you need a pillow underneath that left knee, maybe not. Now this is going to feel different on this side. We bend at our hip crease, hands on each side of the left leg, and we're going to bow over it and breathe into it. If you needed that pillow underneath that right knee, go ahead. Breathe into it and let everything hang. Let the shoulders hang. Let your head hang. If you need, put a pillow on top of your leg. Maybe you use a yoga block. Make it yours. Again, no muscle energy, neck and shoulders. Let it all go. Notice again, it feels completely different. Observe it without judgment. Just observe it and feel it. Don't try to get away from it. Do not tighten up. Let go. If you let go, you're going to notice everything changes. The more we tighten up, the more we push into things, it's not so good. It may exacerbate tension, tightness, pain. Let everything go, everything soften. Stay with your breath. Trust your body. Sometimes when you're working with the hamstrings, there's mean voices going on. Maybe those mean voices are talking about me. Don't let them talk about you. It's all good. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. We're almost complete with the pose, folks. Oh, stay with your breath. Big, deep breathing. Try to find that ujjayi breath. Focus on it. Let everything go. I haven't forgotten you. I know. These 3-minute poses seem like they're forever, especially when they're about the hamstrings. Very gently, very slowly, lift yourself back up. If that ankle is to your side, grab the ankle, pull the knee forward, set the foot down. If the knee is out to the side, lift it up and take the legs out. Work your ankles. Coming out of these poses sometimes is just as important as how you come into them. Flex and point your feet a few times. And then come into butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together, flap the knees a little bit. You can be sitting on a blanket or not. We're just going to round forward for a recovery pose. Let your head hang. Take 3 deep breaths, not using any muscle energy. Breathing out your back ribs, your side ribs, exhaling, pulling the tummy in and up. You could have your feet way out in front of you if the knees are hurting. Please finish those 3 breaths slowly, deeply. Everybody's going to be in a different position. And then once we do finish it, we're going to slowly come up, lift yourself up, bring your hands back behind your knees, bring them in. Take your knees gently from side to side. Set those hands back. We're being a hammock. We're relaxing. Maybe you want to be on your elbows. That feels great too. So we always do an arm strengthener in yin. Tonight we're going to do a pose called tripod. I believe everybody should be fine here with their knees. We can use a prop for under the knee if it doesn't feel right. The reason why I think you'll be okay if you do have a knee issue, you're not supposed to put all your pressure on the knees. We're putting pressure on 3 points. So, and also I think all of you have done this with me. Take the blanket, maybe stick it underneath that left knee. We're going to bend the left knee out to the side and get the blanket way underneath of it. So we're going to come up onto our left hand and left knee. Your right leg is going to be straight out, and we're going to get these 3 points in alignment. Your right foot, your left knee, and that left hand is under your shoulder in alignment to the knee. That left foot is just pointing out there towards the right side. If you want, some people like the toes rolled under. I like it relaxed. Adjust the hand underneath the shoulder because it's an arm balance. The right leg is straight. You're pressing down with the blade of your foot, stretching the ankle. The toes are pointing to the left. We're going to put our right hand on our hip. Only if your neck feels good. Slowly turn your head upward, looking up to the ceiling, and then take your right arm straight up. Look up if it feels good. Look down at your left hand if it feels better. Reach up. You should feel effortless on the knee. Breathe there. Pressing down with that blade of that right foot, that takes the pressure off that knee. Bring the right arm by your ear, palm down. And then we're going to windmill that arm all the way down to the floor. Drop your hips down to the floor. And then take that left leg out. Work your ankles. Do that hammock. Just kind of sit back or come on your elbows. Swing your knees from side to side. Free and easy. Letting go those poses. Now let's go to the other side. Let's put that blanket underneath the right knee. Have your right hand go underneath your shoulder. Your left leg goes in alignment, the foot in alignment to your right knee. The blade of the foot is pressing down. Your toes are pointing to the right. Right hand is under the shoulder. Make sure it's adjusted. It feels comfortable. Fingers are pointing straight to the back of your mat. Your right toes can be relaxed or rolled under, what feels more stable to you. Put your left hand on your hip. If your neck feels good, you're going to look up to the ceiling. If not, look down at your hand. You're going to turn your gaze upward if you can, and then extend the left arm up. Spread your fingers. Reach up. Press down with the blade of that left foot. Breathe there. And then bring the arm by your ear, palm down, get that nice lateral stretch. And then float your hips down, bring the arm down, hips down, and then straighten your right leg out. And let's be a hammock. Rock your knees. You can bring your elbows to the floor, whatever feels good. So it's time to come into the saddle. So saddle pose can be done a multitude of ways. You're going to need lots of props. If you're not doing saddle pose tonight, because it's kind of funny on the feet and the knees, Maybe you lay down on your back and do the modified bridge pose. And that looks like this, where you lay down onto your back, your knees are bent, and you put a yoga prop under your hip. It could be blankets stacked up nice and hard. It could be a good book, a big thick book. But make sure it's low, it's at the sacrum, because you want your tail to be pointed up, tilt upward, not down, because that gives you a yucky back bend. You want it upward, and so the shoulders can relax. You'll take one leg out at a time and see if it's good, and then take both legs out. If you have pain, that means the block needs to come, the prop needs to come closer to your heels or lower. Now, saddle, folks. Let's come into that saddle. I'm setting your time now. Saddle pose, you could be sitting on a saddle, up high, stretching your knees, stretching your feet, and just kind of playing, sitting back. Your clock has been set, so some of you are just still kind of playing with it and getting maybe just a blanket or something smaller under the hip, and then getting your pillow or your bolster back behind you. Now, ultimately, you'd be somewhere here. You could be flat on the floor like this too. That takes forever. I think maybe I've witnessed one person who came into class and did that. I don't think they came back after that. No reason to. You could be setting up high like this, going, holy cow, isn't the time over? This is a tremendous stretch. Tremendous stretch. You can play back and kind of set back here. You could come on your elbows. You could lean your back up on a couch or on the wall, maybe an ottoman. So you're either here like this, and I'm going to demonstrate one more time for the bridge pose. So that bridge pose, if that lower back is hurting, your one leg is straight and one knee is bent. Make sure the block is low enough and that it feels good. Now, you could have both legs out as long as it doesn't hurt the lower back. And again, maybe you just shift the block or the prop lower towards the heels. And just let the psoas stretch, let your quadriceps stretch. Everybody's in a different pose, and that's perfectly fine, because that's what all the poses of yoga you're supposed to do, what's best for you, but especially yin. Everybody has different poses that are meant for them, and other poses that it may take a lifetime for them to even make the shape of it. Because it doesn't, flexibility has not a whole lot to do with yin. How your bones are put together has everything to do with it, whether your bones are compressing, because you could be doing certain pose for an entire life and never get the depth that maybe your neighbor does, just with how we're built. Stay with your breathing. Any pose, remember you can always come out of it at any time. Remember, be gentle. Don't force yourself into any of these poses. You can always come out of them, come back into them. You can always go into child's pose. I do not encourage to ever go past your edge in any of these poses. Less is truly more in the pose. Remember, you guys always have the best ways of using the props. Be creative. It's good to use your creative mind. Make sure in saddle pose, it's the same principle with your tailbone. You don't want the tailbone rooted down. You want it rolling upwards. So maybe you have to stick your hands underneath your hips to make that maneuver until it feels normal. No pinching in the lower back. If you're pinching, you're doing it wrong. You can always get in touch with me later. We can talk about it or adjust the prop. Maybe come out of it. We're on our last minute of the pose, folks. Stay with your breathing. You could be laying back, setting up on the floor. Last few moments. And we're going to gently lift our hips up. If you're in saddle, slowly lift yourself up. And then once you do set up, you'll lift the hips up and you'll slide your knees in together. Once you've done that, you work the knees or hips around. If you're on your back with a prop under your hip, take your feet back up on the floor, lift your hips up, and take the prop out from underneath. Please hug knees into the chest. So you're either making circles with your knees, going around one way a few times, or you're on your hands and knees, moving your hips in circles. So either way. So we're all doing circles either on our backs or on our knees. My kids who have sore knees, you're not going to want to come into this next pose this way. But if you'd like to come into shoelace this way, we're going to bring our right knee forward. Put your left knee back behind you. Now, if you're stiff and you've never done this before, I'm going to show you another way to come into this pose. You can just trust yourself. Honestly, you can press the hips back low and set them down between your heels. You could even get your blanket or a pillow and set the hips down onto that. We want to have your heels out from under your hip and you're in shoelace. Now, that's not a good way to come into it for you. If you've had knee issues and you're tight, get up on your pillow or your blanket, and I suggest a high pillow. You're going to take that left foot, you're going to pull it to the outside of your hip, not under it, and take your right leg and cross it. Now, it may just be like this. I have set your time, folks. This could be shoelace. This could be shoelace. But you want to make sure that left heel, and I'm going to turn so you can see better, the left heel is not under your tuchus. You're going to press both hips to the floor, and that's why you need to have a pillow or a blanket underneath you so your hips can level and square. Breathe. You should feel that all throughout your hips. It's not an easy pose. Now, I do know there's probably one person in here who says, I don't know if I'm feeling it. Make sure the knees are stacked if you are not feeling it. Make sure the foot is out from under your hip. Set up straight and tall and keep both hips down and fall forward. See if you can breathe there. Whichever feels good. Again, you may be here going, this is enough for me. Don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on your clock. This is not an easy pose at all. That's why I stuck it on the end. Aren't you glad it's only a 3-minute pose? Stay with your breath. Try to relax in that left hip as much as you're relaxing in your right hip. Try to set up. That gets your attention. Be gentle with your shoulders, your neck. We're on our last last moments of the pose. Stay with it if you can. Come out of it if you need to. You'll love your hips this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow. Notice it changing as we set in it and breathe. The lower back. We're done with it. So we're going to pick our right foot up. We're going to take our forearm right behind our right knee, squeeze it off, work your ankle, and then set that foot down, lift the left knee up, do the same thing. Put your forearm behind that, squeeze your knee off, work your ankle. And let's jump in the hammock for a moment. Drop your hands back and rock your knees. Free and easy. So some of you want to sit on your bottom now that you've experienced the pose. Some of you go, oh heck, I like that way we came on our hands and knees. This technique, if it takes it a little deeper, you would bring the left knee up between the hands, bring your right knee back behind it. Open the heels of your feet way out. Maybe your hips go to the floor. Maybe you stick a blanket under your hip. Maybe you're sitting on a blanket and you're going, I'm not coming into it that way. I'm going to bring my right heel out towards my hip and I'm going to put my left knee on top. Make sure your right heel is out from under your hip. You're going to set up nice and tall. Make sure your knees are stacked if you are not feeling it. If you're going, I'm not coming into it that deep, this is where I'm at. This is perfectly fine too. We're trying to even our hips both on the floor, not one side lifting up, not one side down. We're trying to be even. That means you may need a prop. Adjust it. Make sure that right foot is out from under your hip. Relax into it. Let it go. Feels different on this side. Keep your shoulders and neck relaxed. If you're not feeling anything, maybe you're pressing both hips to the floor, pulling the tummy in and bowing forward. Maybe you re-stack them. But make sure the foot is out from underneath your hips. Just setting up straight can be enough. Feeling that right side, left side. Breathe into your hips. Let them soften. Don't hold the thigh tight. Let all the muscles around, let them go. The tissue around your knee, I know you feel it around your knee too. Let it all go. Let it relax. We're on our last moments of the pose. Thank goodness, I know. Stay with it. Be patient. We're almost there. Let those thighs melt. Let those knees relax. Let the hips stretch. Let it soften. Let it release. Gently. We're going to lift ourselves up. We're going to take that left foot in front. We're going to stick our forearm underneath it. Squeeze your knee off. Work your ankle. Then send the leg out. We're going to pick that right knee up. Get your forearm right behind it again. Squeeze the knee off. Work your ankle. And then send your legs out. You can have your legs straight. You can have your knees bent. You can have your elbows to the floor. Sit back in your hammock, rocking your knees. And then we're going to come into relaxation pose, kids. Knees together, feet wide apart. So get those hips down to the middle of your mat. Lay all the way back. Have the knees together, feet wide apart. Maybe you want to lift your hips up and eke your hips a little lower. Yes, this is actually a variation on saddle pose. This opens your hips up. Feet are out. Arms are out, comfortable, wide. Take a deep breath in and go. Take 2 more breaths, letting the hips release, letting the lower back soften. And then gently get the movement. You all are pros. Point one knee to the ceiling, press the opposite knee down, and gently go from one side to the other. Slow, super extra slow. Go back and forth. Bring both knees back up. Walk your feet and your knees in together. Throw that pillow underneath your legs so that when we do come into Shavasana, it's ready. Bring knees into your chest, nose to bent knees around your back, and let it all go to the floor. Keep the feet up off the mat and take both knees around in a big circle. Going one way, go the other way. Now separate your knees. Get the circles in your hips. Go one way around. And then change the direction. Go the other way around. Now happy baby. Rock yourself from side to side. And then you're going to gently take the heels of your feet towards the ceiling if you choose. Shoulders on the mat. Press your hips down. Tuck your chin. Here's the hard part. Let it relax. Take a deep breath. And then float your legs out. One leg out. Then float the other leg out. Let your arms flop out. Palms are turned up. Make sure you're comfortable. If you have an eye pillow, put it on. Again, make sure the feet are flopped out. You're not holding any muscle energy in those legs. The palms of your hands are turned upwards so you don't start feeling surfaces and then your mind is going to wander. Eyes are closed. Take a deep breath in. Let it out with a big sigh. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath a moment. Sip a little more breath in. Now blow it out hard. We're going to do those two sounds again. The sound of ah and Take a breath in. Take a breath in. Let's do those two sounds again. Take a deep breath in. One more delicious sound. Notice there's a vibration left on your lips. Let that vibration reverberate through the entire body. Imagine every cell of the body is able to open up. Let every cell of the body savor that delicious sensation. Find the sound of your own breath. The breath is right there. It's at the back of your throat. Listen to it. Listen to the sound deepening. This breath is called Ujjayi breath. Allow it to take on the sound of a wind or a wave. Let that sound relax the body. Let that deep sound relax and release the whole mind. Bring your awareness to the air flowing through your nose. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is the right side breathing in deeper than the left? Let's tap into this. See if you can breathe in through your left nostril. Exhaling through the right. Inhaling through your left nostril. Exhale through the right. Follow this circular breathing. In through the left. Out through the right. Let's play with it the opposite way. Inhaling through your right nostril. Exhaling through the left. Inhale through the right nostril. Exhale through the left. Inhale right. Exhale left. And then let your breath just be. Wiggle your wrists. Take a nice deep breath in with any extra stretch you'd like. Bring yourself back to the body more fully, more completely. Only when you're ready, wrap your arms around your knees, hug your knees to your chest. And when you're ready, roll to the left if it's good, right if it feels better. When you're ready, come up to any old seated position you would like. Make sure you're seated well. We're going to do lion's roar before we go off. This tones our neck, stretches our face, it opens our jaws, and it cleanses the lymphatic system. Stretches our neck. Why aren't we doing this at least twice a day? Roll your shoulders. Now, let the shoulders relax. Simply turn your head to one side. Open your mouth wide, stick your tongue out, and let's go. Close the mouth. Shake your head yes to that side. With an inhale, bring your nose to center. Exhale, look to the opposite side. Open your mouth wide, stick your tongue out, and go. Close the mouth and gently shake your head yes. Bring your nose to center one more time. Open your mouth wide, use your eyes to look up, and go. Close the mouth, tuck the chin to the chest, little nose. Bring both shoulders to your ears, lift your head up, relax your shoulders back and down. So Debbie, you have not seen our new puppy. This is Milo. We're gonna all sit and do an Om before we leave class tonight. So put your hands together, close your eyes, invite a deep breath in. Namaste. It was truly an honor and a pleasure for you to come and play with Milo and Ruby and I tonight. Thank you so much for coming to play with me. I hope that was just the right yin class for you all.